Hey folks, Matt with Printavo here. Today I'm going to talk about a kind of controversial topic. We're going to talk about which brand of automatic press is the best. Now I'm asked this very frequently, and the honest answer is there isn't one that's the best. Traditionally we hear people talk about the big three, right? They're going to talk about M&R, MHM, and Rock. And those three are the big three, and they're phenomenal presses. But they're not the only player in the game. A lot of other great presses are available from companies like Lawson, Workhorse, and Anatol. It all really comes down to geographically, where are you and who can provide you service and support. So if you're going to live near a manufacturer of one of those, it might be best to partner up with them to know that you can get service and support right then. However, it's also another topic to think about who you're going to have running that equipment, right? So if you're in an area that's traditionally a Rock area and you want to go with one of those other brands we talked about, right? That's okay, but you may have a different learning curve to get press operators who you're hiring to know how to interface with that equipment. Where if you're gonna go into a Rock area, it might be the most sense to buy a Rock. That way, around you, you can hire printers that already have interfaced and experienced with that. By no means do you have to go with any one of those. There's lots of options. Anybody who tells you that one is much better than the other, they're really sharing their opinion, and that's totally fine. I've worked traditionally with a lot of M&Rs, so it's easiest for me to jump on an M&R and run that. But I've also found great work with Anatols, Rocks, and all the other companies. So all the presses are going to really be good for you if you look locally. Now, when you're going into some of the smaller companies you're looking out there for, be careful and just make sure they're reputable. So if you're looking at a brand, ask them, can I have a list of people who are happy with this press that I can reach out to and talk to? They're going to supply that. All the ones I've named, I know will supply that. If a company does not want to give you that list, that may be a reason to kind of double check and ask questions. Okay, why won't you provide that for me? Do you not have a customer list of happy and satisfied customers? So just make sure you do your due diligence to look into that, but also do not fall for salespeople or any consultants telling you that one is the best. If someone's getting paid by that company, that's going to sway their opinion. So just ask questions, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, ask people who have the press you're looking at how they feel about that, and do your own research. But as long as you're hitting any of those that I talked about, and there's I'm sure a few more I haven't thought of, you're gonna be in good hands. Also, make sure you keep in mind what goes along with buying an automatic press. You're going to need a flash, or two, or three, depending how big your press is going to be. And you're probably going to want to make sure you upgrade your dryer, right? If you're going from a manual shop and maybe you've got a smaller dryer, you're not going to want to have your small dryer really slowing down your automatic press. So make sure you look at the larger picture as well. It's a good idea to talk to somebody who maybe has both offerings, a dryer and a press, and see if they can offer you a package deal to save some money. And it's also a one-stop shop when you need support and service as well. They're going to be happier because they're going to see they've got more pieces of their equipment in your shop, and they're going to take more value in you and helping you succeed. Now, when looking for an auto, there's also going to be a used market, and oftentimes you're going to hear a lot of the big players in the manufacturing side say things like, our used market is our biggest competitor. And that's very true. Unfortunately, there are shops that just will not make it, and they're going to have equipment that's going to go out on the used market. Now, there can be some gold mines that you can find out there. You can also get some lemons. So just make sure that you reach out to a good independent tech, or reach out to the actual manufacturer of that equipment and see if they will offer a solution to have one of their certified techs do a rebuild or work on that. So just keep that in mind. If you are buying used, there may be an added cost for a rebuild in case it does need more work. So if you find something for a smoking good deal, it may be too good to be true, so it's due diligence to double check that. Now, when it comes to buying anything new in general, it's a big price difference you can look at. It depends what you're looking to get. You can start off with something as low as $35,000, $40,000 new, and you can go as high as, I've seen presses as high as $200,000. So it all depends on what your throughput's going to be, what your goals are, and also the size of your shop, right? If your shop only has an area of a 15-foot circumference, you're not going to be able to get a 25-foot oval press. So make sure you keep in mind the size and the bandwidth for what you're trying to achieve. On the back end of that is the added cost of the peripherals that we oftentimes don't think about. And I've seen many shop owners fall for this. They get all excited and all gung-ho about getting that big press. And they go, oh, you know what? I can make it work for this higher price tag. But they forget all the other things that go into play with that, right? So you're going to have added electrical costs. You need to make sure that you have copper wiring ran, and it depends on what phase you've got too. You have to think about the electrical coming into the building. Do you even have the correct phasing or the correct voltage to keep that going? So you have the electrical cost, the electrician cost, the install cost. That all plays a big factor. Now you also have to make sure that your space constraints are there as well. If you're gonna get a press, you wanna make sure that you've got space around the press for a person to walk and be able to easily load a screen and be able to move job carts past that, right? So you don't wanna make it too tight. If you make it too tight, you're also going to become disorganized and chances of misprinting goes up. So definitely keep an eye on the peripheral costs that go with that, including if you're gonna be going with a pneumatic press, you're gonna have to have a compressor and a chiller. Oftentimes that'll be an onboard option. And nowadays you can get some pretty good screw compressors that are pretty quiet, have an onboard chiller. That's usually gonna cost you anywhere between $8,000 to $14,000 depending on what the requirements are for your press. So don't forget those peripherals when it comes to buying new equipment. When picking your automatic, it's also good to think about the growth you're expecting to have. So if right now you only really need jobs that can handle 6 colors, well, you have to make sure you account for cool stations and flash stations. But do you only want to be able to do 6 colors, or do you want to be able to get to 10, 12, or 14 down the road? So the price difference between a 10 color and a 14 color isn't so drastic. Now from no auto to an auto, that's a bigger step. So look long term and make that investment for what's going to actually something you can grow into for the next 5 years. If you think you're going to surpass that within that time, you need to upgrade and even go larger. Now, if you're having space constraints or other reasons, then that can go into play as well. But always plan for where you're going to be in a few years, not necessarily where you are right now. So in conclusion, what press is best? The answer to that is what is best for you. Contact local, see who can help you, have them work with you. They're making money off this too. Have them help you set it up in your shop, figure out the needs, and work with you to find your success. And as long as it makes you money, it's the right press for you.